Okay, let's jump into who's eating good. After the break, we'll get into the NFC divisional round, so don't go anywhere. But who's eating good with a little bit of a twist here, Matthew. Usually we talk about can these players keep this performance going this season. Instead, with Rashee Rice, that's finished the regular season strong, looks good in the playoffs so far. How about can he carry this into next year as an actual thing in fantasy, obviously in a great offense?
1,000%. So, he finishes the year as wide receiver 28. I have my way too early top 50 for 2024. It's available on rotoworld.com, NBCSports.com for free. Of course, I'm a company man. Rashee Rice is currently number 35 overall. I'm as a top 4 round. I'm in the going as a being picked in the first 4 rounds. Remember, this is a guy over the final 7 weeks of the regular season was the 8th best wide receiver in fantasy football, at least a 25% target share in 6 of the past 7 games. Rice averaging, in that stretch, averaging 7 for 92. He's the number 1 wide receiver for Patrick freaking Mahomes. And we don't know yet. I think there's a chance that Travis Kelce retires this offseason, especially if they win the Super Bowl. But either way, Kelce feels like he's slowing down, and Kelce clearly has a lot of options for him in a post-playing career, whether it's media, whether it's a spokesperson, whether it's just being a famous boyfriend. His post-playing career is going to be really, really awesome. And so Rashee Rice, I think, will be the focal point. Whether Kelce is back or not, feels like he's slowing down. He's playing less snaps. Rashee Rice is going to be the focal point of a Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid offense.
Yep. I think as well, he has a lot of scope to get better than he is right now. I think there was some concerns early in the season about his route running, just the sophistication in that offense. He's clearly made strides within the season. You'd expect with another offseason with Mahomes that he would be able to get even better.
He's gotten the trust of it. And clearly, that's one of the reasons why he was a sleeper, is you speak about offseason with Mahomes. One of the reasons why he was a sleeper for myself and a lot of other people coming into the season was because in the offseason, he worked out with Mahomes. The reason he's on the Chiefs is that literally Mahomes went to the front office of Kansas City and said, if you can, get me this kid Rashee Rice, because I was throwing with part of the guys that I was throwing with in the offseason. This kid came out from SMU, and I like him a lot.
And they drafted him, honestly, about a round earlier than the rest of the league expected him to go, and it looks great for them. That's why sometimes you should lean on your quarterback for those kind of influence and decisions.
Also good to keep Patrick happy.
Right. Yeah. Probably a decent idea.
Yeah.
And it turns out Mahomes was right, because he's the only receiver he could trust.
Yeah.
So listen to Patrick Mahomes, maybe a good idea.
Worked out better than LeBron James wanting Shabazz Napier.
Which, or Randall Cobb coming to the Jets.
Right.
We don't need to talk
or
about that.
Hard.
Yeah, or we can keep going.
You just see Mahomes back there, not him, not him. Oh, that's a guy that can catch. All right, there we go.
Speaking of those Packers, by the way, Jordan Love, our other player on Who's Eating Good. I think the question is as simple as this, Matthew. Is this a top 10 quarterback going into next year?
I think he has to be. I think he has to be. He finished the season as the 5th best quarterback in points per game. He had, 4 rushing touchdowns, almost 250 rushing yards, 8 different games this year with 20 or more fantasy points. Only Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts had more. Dak Prescott, Brock Purdy, the only 2 guys other than Jordan Love with 5 different games with at least 3 passing touchdowns, multiple passing touchdowns in 9 of his last 10 games, including the playoffs as well. You like the skill players around him. You think about the emergence of Dontavian Wicks and Jaden Reed, along with Christian Watson stay healthy. We've seen Romeo Doubs. We've talked about this, and
both tight ends.
All the, Tucker Kraft, and I still believe at some point in his NFL career, Luke Musgrave will be a thing. And so, given that offense, Jordan Love, it felt like at the beginning of the year he was putting up fantasy points, but it was kind of fluky.
Yep.
He wasn't playing well NFL-wise, but it was some junk time. It was some fluky plays, long run after the catch. But the second half of the year, you're like, this kid is a legit NFL quarterback.
Yep.
And it's insane, as a Commanders fan who's been in the quarterback desert for 30 years, except with screw you guys, Packers fans, to go from Favre to Rodgers to now Jordan Love. They've got 3 franchise guys in a row.
Yep. Indeed. I mean, statistically, he was the 5th best quarterback in football this year by EPA per play. That's in football, not just fantasy, where he's 5th as well. And you would think that, 1, this is his first season. He's basically a rookie quarterback. And then 2, it seems like there is just no chance that his context will be worse next year with the youth of the receivers, with better health. Maybe Bakhtiari comes back, offensive line better, just more continuity with LaFleur. Like, he should be a monster. Like, he's going to be one of the MVP favorites coming into next year.
It'll be interesting to see if any team tries to follow the model of actually drafting and letting a guy sit. Obviously, that's not going to happen for top 5 picks. That's just not the way the league works. But they traded up for him at the end of the first round. He sat for a couple of years, and he needed seasoning coming out of Utah State, and it was the right move.
I just think back to how when he filled in for Rodgers a couple of years ago in that game against the Chiefs, where he was terrible. He was absolutely terrible. Like, he could not connect with Devontae Adams at all. It was awkward to watch. And then to go from that to the guy against Dallas last week, he looks like a different human being.
It's unbelievable. And I'll just say this, like, Rashee Rice and Jordan Love, both early ride or die candidates. I could see myself going with either one of them next year. There'll be a lot of conversation over the offseason. But both in the mix. Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotorWorld.com. And I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched. Or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Roto-World fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.